Now it's time to begin our story. Do you recognize this song? It's the song, It's a Small World. And today's story will also be related to the word small. Our story today is The Inch Prince. Have you ever imagined living as someone who's only 1 inch tall? I can't. Let's find out how this little guy lives in a world so big he can't imagine. Once upon a time, there was a little old man and a little old woman. Their names were Mr. and Mrs. Ping. They lived in a tiny house by a river. Every day, they weeded the plants in their vegetable garden or plot. The beans look beautiful, said Mr. Ping. Fed the animals in the field. The hens look happy, said Mrs. Ping. And watered the flowers in their garden. The lilies look lovely, said Mr. Ping. They had everything they wanted. Well, almost. I wish we had some children, said Mrs. Ping one evening. Only a teeny child could fit in our tiny house, said Mr. Ping sadly. But small things can be special too, said his wife. I wouldn't care if they were just 1 inch tall, she added. Oh, it seems that Mrs. Ping doesn't care if their child is big or small. She loves them anyways and she thinks they are special. At that moment, a fairy flew by. She heard what Mr. and Mrs. Ping said. She noticed their lovely vegetables, happy animals, and tall flowers. These people are kind, thought the fairy. I'll be kind to them. She waved her wand and whispered some magic words. Jumping bees and flying fish, give these folk their dearest wish. Soon afterwards, Mr. and Mrs. Ping had a teeny weeny boy. In fact, he was just 1 inch tall. Let's call him Isenboshi, said Mrs. Ping. It means 1 inch boy. Or Issy for short, said her husband. Very short. Each year, the pig's vegetables grew better. Their animals grew bigger. And their flowers grew taller. But Issy stayed small. Issy's height chart. Maybe if I stand on tiptoe, thinks Issy. Issy was tiny. He had a bottle top for a bathtub. He had a shoelace for a scarf. He had a pea for a ball. Goal! He shouted. He had a button for a dinner plate. And he had a matchbox for a bed. Zzz, said Isley. Issy is so small, he is what we do not use. What we usually use. Look, he uses a bottle top to take a bath. Can you imagine that? Many years later, it was time for Issy to leave home. I'll get a job in the city, he said. His parents gave him 3 presents for his journey. He had a rice bowl for a boat, had a pair of chopsticks for oars, and he had a needle for a sword. Oh my! Issy has a bowl and chopsticks, which is what we used to eat, for a boat. And he had a needle, which he used to sew for a sword. I wish I could be like Issy so don't have to buy too many expensive stuff. Issy set off down the river, between tall mountains, past villages, around wide woods, and through towns, until he reached the big city. I'll ask the emperor for a job, thought Issy. That's if I don't get squashed first. At last, Issy reached the emperor's palace. 2 guards were marching up and down outside. I like a job, said Issy. You're teeny, said one of the guards. What can you do? I can run past you for a start, said Issy. Hey, where did he go? Said the guard. He jumped over the guard's foot and ran into the palace. A maid was washing clothes. I'd like a job, said Issy. You're weenie, said the maid. What can you do? I can run past you for a start, Issy said. Hey, where did he go? Asked the maid. He jumped over the maid's soap and into the kitchen. A cook was making dinner. I'd like a job, said Issy. You're tiny, said the cook. What can you do? I can run past you for a start, said Issy said. Hey, where'd he go? Asked the cook. He ran around the cook's oven and into the next room. Issy was in the throne room. He bowed to the emperor and the princess. I'd like a job, please, your majesty, said Issy. Would you, indeed? Said the emperor. He's teeny weeny, daddy, said Princess Chi-Chi. What can he do? Well, I ran past your guard, your maid, and your cook to get here, said Issy. The emperor thought for a moment. You can look after Princess Chi-Chi, he said. But daddy, moaned the princess, he's only 1 inch tall. Small things can be special too, said the emperor. Oh, it seems like the emperor also knows that small things are special. But how in the world would Issy protect Princess Chi-Chi? Let's find out. From then on, Issy never left the princess's side. He was there in the morning. He was there in the afternoon. He was there at night. One day, the princess left the palace to visit her aunt. Issy went too. They came to a dark forest. I'm scared, said Princess Chi-Chi. I'll look after you, said Issy. What could you do? Said the princess. Just then, there was a terrifying roar. Rah! Said the noise. Help! Screamed Princess Chi-Chi. A giant orc crashed through the trees. He reached out to grab the princess. Put her down, said Issy, or I'll... You, said the orc. What could you do? The orc scooped up Issy and popped him in his mouth. I love bite-sized snacks. Issy fought quickly. He took his needle sword and pricked the orc's tongue. Take that, shouted Issy. Ow! Screamed the orc. The orc spat at Issy and ran off. That will teach him, said Issy. Thank you, Issy, said the princess. Look, said Issy. The orc left his hammer behind. The princess tried to pick it up, but it was too heavy. Whew, it's heavier than it looks, said Princess Chi-Chi. I wish you were bigger, Issy, she said. Then maybe you could lift it. A cloud of magical stars shot out of the hammer and swept around Issy. Issy felt himself changing. He grew bigger and bigger and bigger. In seconds, he was as big as the princess. I'm as tall as you, said Issy. That hammer granted your wish. The princess fell in love with Issy, but not because he was tall. He loved him because he was brave. They got married and lived in a house next to the palace. The house was small, but Prince Issy and Princess Chi-Chi were happy. They both knew that small things can be special too. The end. That was an ignorant story and it had a happy ending too. After Issy saved Princess Chi-Chi from the orc, the hammer that the orc dropped made Issy tall, and together they lived happily ever after as prince and princess. Now it's time for Lucky Draw. And the lesson for this story is, you already know, it has been said multiple times in the book. Small things can be special too. And that's the end of today's QA story time. Be sure to follow my page and subscribe to my YouTube channel for more interesting stories. Don't forget to share with friends. Thank you and have a nice day. Bye bye. Bye bye. See you next week. Bye. Next Sunday.